would it be correct to say that India is trying to normalize situation with China on Beijing's terms?
Well, I would want to know. I mean, normally what would happen when the Prime Minister goes to an event like the SCO event, he should come back and brief the opposition leaders. He should brief Parliament. See whether it's flexible or not, but that's a very nice way of saying that we are becoming transactional.
Do you think that we can trust China, considering during Operation Sindoor it was, and now the evidence also proves so, that it was indeed helping Pakistan?
Today the question is, can we trust ourselves?
Ex-foreign minister yourself, what do you have to say about these pictures and the bonhomie which has been shown?
It's a good thing, but this bonhomie is something new for us. I mean, we've forgotten what happened with Jawaharlal Nehru and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten what happened with Indira Gandhi and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten what happened between Rajiv Gandhi and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten what happened with Lal Bahadur Shastri and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten all that.
Hours after Prime Minister Narendra Modi wrapped up his China visit, US President Donald Trump again lashed out at India. But he's been lashing out at India quite often. To understand why, India though has been trying to do a balancing act, but is now getting a little more flexible. To understand India's flexibility, I am joined by a very special guest, Mr. Salman Khurshid, who has been Minister of External Affairs and also the Law Minister. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to Indian Express.
Pleasure.
First thing I would like to ask you, sir, is as a foreign minister, how do you view the latest statements which are coming out from America, first by Donald Trump himself and now by his, the former National Security Advisor, Mr. Sullivan, in which he has said that America has thrown away ties with India?
Well, see, there are always in a large democracy there are always 2 or 3 dominant views, and in the United States, over a long period, there have been views about India. There's been a strong lobby supportive of India, and there's a strong lobby, particularly in the past, in the State Department, that sort of leaned towards Pakistan. On variety of geostrategic reasons, etc. And that is a matter of discomfort to us. Therefore, much as we've always thought of the United States as being an important
ally,
not ally, partner, potential partner, etc. And that sort of peaked in, there was a romance of John Kennedy and Jawaharlal Nehru, the romantic picture of 2 great democracies, and then it peaked again when Dr. Manmohan Singh pulled off the 123 civil nuclear agreement. It peaked at that time, and one would have expected that it would continue to grow, but despite what we were being told about the special relationship between the Prime Minister Modi and President Trump, it turned out not to be so, and not to be so in such a dramatic way that we saw in terms of the tariffs that have been imposed on us. Now, there's been rethinking on the global order, world order, and we were comfortable for many decades in the NAM movement and the idea of non-alignment. Now that was obviously under stress because the world changed. There was a dramatic difference with the end of Cold War and the emergence of new powers and power equations, and therefore we were beginning to hear about a multipolarity world. And we were supposed to be a pole as well, an important pole as well. And suddenly, during Operation Sindoor, we felt a sense of alienation, that there wasn't the same enthusiastic support for us that we would have normally expected. So we stood by our own commitments, etc. Now, there are issues in the country about what needs to be answered as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned. Parliament was supposed to
Debate on
wrap
it.
it up. But much that has been heard and said, particularly by military personnel, has been said outside Parliament. And therefore, there are many questions that remain. But on the larger backdrop of all this is that we've gone to SCO after 7 years. The Prime Minister has travelled to the Chinese territory and to SCO, and seemingly come away with something. We've come away with a resolution, but that resolution is could be talked of by Pakistan as being a resolution
which favors them.
as just as much as it favors anybody else. And nobody, clearly nobody, within the resolution or outside the resolution, has condemned Pakistan for what happened in Pahalgam. So this condolence and regret for what happened in Pahalgam and desire to wipe out terrorism, these are generic statements that we've heard before. But Pahalgam happened despite this, right? So I think on that, unfortunately, we haven't sort of gained all that much. The other problem is that our own people need to know what happened in Galwan. Now, there are views about somebody saying, oh, we sorted out Galwan by taking revenge and so on. That's not the point. The point is 20 of our young men, soldiers, did get martyred during that event. And you can't just go back to business as usual. There has to be some indication, some remorse, some indication of regret for what happened, and then you decide to move on. So people who believe that it was time for us to move on, I can understand there are compulsions, there are strategic reasons why we need to move on. And of course, if we have a respectable friendship with our neighbors, and including China, who can object to it? But terms have to be honorable, and I believe that that's not yet very clear.
So, do you feel, as far as China is concerned, when the handshake was there and everyone has been talking about Prime Minister's handshake with the Chinese president, do you think that it was from the weak footing?
Well, see, I wouldn't want to put our own country's representatives on the back foot by saying that you were on the weak foot, you were not equal to them, etc. So as far as that goes, it's fine to say that, look, let's do what we have to do in a united manner. Unfortunately, the government doesn't share with us, with the opposition parties, and we have very experienced leadership, but it doesn't share with us what it intends to do, what its plans are, doesn't even share with us setbacks that are inevitable in international relations. There is everything doesn't go your way, but we don't really get to know what the truth is, and therefore you have to just go by surmises, you will go by speculation, and go by some third-party assessments, etc.
Absolutely. So, what do you have to say about when we say there have been differences? Because I was reading your interview to the Indian Express, you said India has drifted away from United States of America. Why do you think they drifted away? And do you think that these differences are more economic driven, or are they structural?
Well, see, let's just get the emphasis right. Have we drifted away, or have they drifted away?
Okay.
I mean, we were just still saying that they are our best friends and they are our reliable friends, etc. But they've taken a different attitude completely, and that attitude is unacceptable. I mean, I say that on behalf of everybody in India, that attitude is unacceptable. If for nothing else, it's unacceptable because the same attitude has not been shown towards China, towards Turkey, towards other and towards Russia itself. So there's an issue there. There's a big problem there. And then how can we just comfortably accept what the United States is doing on everything, on visas, on students, on trade, on tariffs, etc. And if nothing else, the manner in which they're addressing India is something that frankly is unacceptable. And this is a clear indication that there is a drift. Now, how do we address it is a big problem. And the government is duty bound to address it. Obviously, nobody is saying that you just completely switch off from the United States of America, but do what is the honorable thing to do. Stand firm where you have to, reach out where you have to, accommodate where you have to, but please be very clear in your head that whatever you do must have the support of the entire country, including the opposition in this country.
Absolutely. So, India, earlier had a different point of view as far as India-Chinese relations are concerned. But now India has been saying, as far as this SCO statement goes, it says that we want peace and tranquility at LAC. So, do you think it's a climb down for India from its earlier stand? And is India trying to reset the equation between themselves and China?
See, peace and tranquility is a phrase that goes back to the times of late Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. I mean, the Congress governments have consistently said, let's ensure that there are peaceful relations between China and India, that there is a people-to-people contact between China and India, but separately we must try and sort out the problems on the line of control, line of actual control. Now, the line of actual control has been something that we have talked to China about over a period of 20 years. We've exchanged maps, we've talked to them, and the line of control, actual control, had become somewhat settled, not sorted out, but somewhat settled, till issues like Galwan happened, right? And we still don't know why Galwan happened. We still don't know. We've never been told that why Galwan happened. And so that is the critical thing. Now, nobody would say that we should have unpleasant relations with our neighbor, our northern neighbor, particularly in terms of what China's standing today is in the world, and where we pitch ourselves to be. So clearly, nobody would say that we should have unpleasant relations. But point is, on what terms? Have we got the terms that we deserve? Have we got the terms to which we have a right? Not apparent yet. I mean, so whatever has happened thus far, it is not apparent. Just hugging each other and standing and smiling and giving an impression that we are all is well is not enough. It is part of diplomacy.
Yes.
But it is not the core of diplomacy, and it's not enough.
So, would it be correct to say that India is trying to normalize situation with China on Beijing's terms?
Well, I would want to know. I mean, normally what would happen when the Prime Minister goes to an event like the SCO event, he should come back and brief the opposition leaders. He should brief Parliament. He should let the world country know through proper channels as to what he said, what he was told, and what is the path ahead. But we never hear anything. We just see one man being congratulated for having done something fantastic, and when something goes terribly, terribly wrong like Galwan, or terribly, terribly wrong like many of the issues that arose on the LAC, we are just told that no, there's no issue at all, everything is fine. So if everything was fine, why did it take us 7 years to get there? And if everything was fine and remains the same, then this visit after 7 years has not achieved anything. So there are many questions, and they need to be answered.
So, many in government are also now giving a reasoning. They are saying that USA has been trying to divide the universe. In fact, Russia from China and China from India. What are your viewpoints on it?
Well, see, the US has a clear message: make America great again.
Yes.
MAGA is their message. And they test everything on their understanding of make America great again. Now, if everybody becomes great, then there's hardly going to be any communication between people. So if tariffs on India, 50% tariffs on India is because America is to be made great again. But why at our cost? You become great where you are. Why the cost of India? So we don't know today what America wants to do. We don't know who it wants to divide and who it wants to bring together, etc. But it's saying that whatever happens, America must remain the top dog, must be the top number one country in the world. Now, we also have ambitions. All of us have ambitions. Surely China has, Russia has, we have, Europe has, Germany has, France has. So we all have ambitions. Now, when you're thinking of a world order, a new world order, you'll have to take all this into account. You can't just sweep everyone away and say, look, I'm the only one who matters. Now that unipolar world is gone, right? But how will it be replaced and in which manner it will be replaced by a multipolar world is something that we still need to work on.
But do you think US is ready to deal with the multipolar world where it alone is not a superpower? Because the way Mr. Trump has been acting lately, that doesn't seem so.
Well, I mean, to say the least, Mr. Trump is a non-conventional leader, and that as an international player, he is doing things that a lot of people are very perplexed about, and they don't understand. But still, it's still early in his term of 4 years, and I think we'll have to watch and weigh carefully how we move forward.
But as far as India's foreign policy is concerned, do you think it is a short-term policy, or do you think that India is now trying to become flexible, to...
See, whether it's flexible or not, but that's a very nice way of saying that we are becoming transactional. Now, flexibility and transactional are two different things completely. So, just from event to event, focused on the personal attributes of one person, one leader, no matter how popular that leader may be, but that's not foreign policy. Foreign policy cannot be tactical. That something has happened today, we react, right? We react with some tactics. It has to be strategic. It has to be a larger vision, and that strategic vision has pragmatism. It has self-interest. But it has an enlightened self-interest, and it also has an element of ethics and morality. That's what India's policy has always been. We have been different from other countries. That's why we led movements like NAM. And I think that element of ethics and morality cannot be divorced completely from self-interest, although self-interest must play an important role.
But, sir, as far as China is concerned, do you think that we can trust China, considering during Operation Sindoor it was, and now the evidence also proves so, that it was indeed helping Pakistan?
So today the question is, can we trust ourselves? I mean, if we've taken a view, and our military men have taken a view, military personnel have taken a view about what we had to put up against in Operation Sindoor, then we must find some accommodation for that idea. Have we found that accommodation with that idea? China has not said to us that, sorry, we did what we did during Operation Sindoor, we won't do it again. Then you can ask me this question about, can we trust them? But have they said that to us?
No.
Have they said, and if they say that to us, we may wish to trust them, but we'll also have to verify. So how will we verify and how will we be certain? One might even say that as far as Pakistan is concerned, they could be patting themselves on the back by saying, we've tested something by trusting China, and we are happy with it because verification that we have some additional support from China in confronting a stronger neighbor than ourselves, etc., is okay for Pakistan to think that way. But we have to be sure that this doesn't happen a second time. And what have we done? So we can't just simply forget what happened during Operation Sindoor and start on a fresh page that we'll write a new story with China. You can't write a new story with China with all that material which is already there on the previous pages.
So last question, in the background briefings, the officers of Ministry of External Affairs have been saying that it was a very well summit as far as this SCO summit was concerned. They have been giving examples that Prime Minister rode with Putin in his car for 45 minutes and the kind of pictures which came out from China. So as a foreign minister, ex-foreign minister yourself, what do you have to say about these pictures and the bonhomie which has been shown?
It's a good thing, but this bonhomie is something new for us. I mean, we've forgotten what happened with Jawaharlal Nehru and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten what happened with Indira Gandhi and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten what happened between Rajiv Gandhi and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten what happened with Lal Bahadur Shastri and the Russian leadership. We've forgotten all that. I mean, this is something new for them. This is not new for us. That there is a very special relationship between Russia and India. And we argued for this when Europe raised questions. Of course, the government of India had to answer. But we in the Congress party also answered by saying that there is a special relationship with Russia. You cannot just wish it away. You can't wish it away. We still should have a pragmatic and a constructive approach on what is happening in Europe, in Ukraine versus Russia, etc. We should intervene. We should be proactive. But don't expect it at the cost of giving up a very time-tested relationship with Russia. We were saying that because for us it was natural. It's something that we've known for decades. So if they're suddenly talking about, look at them riding together, look at them embracing each other, look at them smiling at each other, well, that's nothing new. That's the least that you could have done. What does it suggest? It suggests that you had somehow switched off all these things. And then so when you had to switch them on, you're suddenly very excited. But why did you switch off all these things? You were so enamored of another world in the West that you were thinking of, these guys are indispensable. So, I mean, that's
but people who support the foreign policy changes which are being done, they say that foreign policy cannot be static. It needs to change.
It shouldn't be. Foreign policy shouldn't be static. Who's saying it should be static? But there are some fundamental principles. Now, what are we hearing now today? We are hearing about Panchsheel once again. Are we not? Now, Panchsheel has to be static because it's so fundamentally basic and important and something that has been such an important part of India's approach to the world that we should be very pleased today that Panchsheel is being mentioned again. So that's static. Now, if somebody says, why just throw it out, throw out NAM, throw out Panchsheel, because things are not static, we have to change. But change for the sake of change is not important. Change incrementally as you add something to what you have achieved in the past is acceptable. So these kind of blasé statements about, it can't be static, friendships are not permanent, friendships are not perpetual. Why are friendships not permanent and perpetual? Why? It's a big question.
Absolutely. And sir, lastly, like India can relations with the US be mended? Now we are at such a stage, 25, 30 years have gone down the drain.
The relationship with every important country, unless there's a basic contradiction between their aspirations and ours, and even when there is such a thing, we still have to work on it. If you want to live in the world, and the world is like a village now, if you want to live in the world, you have to remain connected with the whole world. And it'll have to be on terms of mutual benefit. It can't be somebody saying make America great, somebody saying make India great, somebody saying make Russia great, somebody saying make Australia great, right? Greatness must be shared greatness of the world, right? And we must learn to respect each other and share the best qualities that we offer to the world. I think that's critical, and if that's the case, then there are no exceptions. Neither is US an exception, nor is Russia an exception. Each one has their own particular relationship with us, and we should develop that relationship. But again, as I say, not at the cost of honor. It's important that our national honor is preserved.
Thank you so much, sir, for speaking to Indian Express. Thank you.
Thanks very much.